What if you were to run across these people? What if you ran into some of those people? I'm not going to ask you to raise your hands which one of them gave you negative feelings, but my guess is some of those images made you feel bad. Flexibility and grace is the pathway toward the life that we're looking for, a life full of meaning, purpose, and abundance. And it's something that we desire in the workplaces that we are trying to seek out and demand. And yet it's something that we fail to do, to embody. And yet I would say it's essential to our well-being. It's also essential to our faith. Jesus, he came to change the world so that we might have the courage to live like him, to love like him. And our ability to change the world rests in God's grace to inspire us to love and to demonstrate that same grace to the world around us. Jesus so desperately wants us to rethink our whole lives in light of his love, in light of his life, in light of his public ministry that was rooted in flexibility, in forgiveness, in openness, in adaptability, in a love that knew no boundaries. And yet we fail to love in that kind of way. You want to experience a great transformation, you're not going to look for another job. You're going to create environments everywhere it is that you go. You're going to create a culture everywhere it is that you travel by demonstrating the flexibility and the grace and the perfect love of God to the world around you, regardless of who is around you. It's to travel down whatever road that you might find yourself walking down and exemplifying this grace, the love of Jesus, the flexibility to open up your world to see everybody as worthy of God's love and to embody that love toward them. It's to be like the Samaritan traveling down the road, binding up this stranger, because that's how we're called to live. As followers of Christ, as people seeking to find purpose and meaning and abundance in our daily living, this kind of life should define us. Flexibility and grace and openness and adaptability, it should define us. How do you treat people when you're walking down the road? That's a metaphorical road. When you're walking down your street, when you're walking through the hallways of your school or of your office or of your workplace or of the coffee shops or of the restaurants, how do you greet people, see people when you're watching them on TV? How do your feelings stack up against the command that Jesus gives all of his disciples to love one another the same way that he first loves us? As people who are prone to rigidity, how do we embody flexibility and grace to the world around us? All I can muster is, as we think about living in this way and finding meaning and purpose and abundance in our daily living, we need to cultivate the ability to become flexible, to become adaptable, to become open in our worldview, to meeting people where they are and to loving people just as they are. We need to be trained in order to embody the love of Christ for the world around us. And so how do we do that? I think that happens with practice. It happens with stretching. If you think about how it is that you can grow as an individual, stretching is so important. We need to allow God to stretch us in a daily kind of fashion.